Hello everyone, today I'm showing you a way of creating a image in Grasshopper Rhino, and we're using a parametric model and also the plugin Human and Firefly in order to help with some data. As you see here, we have like a very nice Bitcoin image where you can, or it can be any image of that source, to be honest. But this case I chose Bitcoin because it's the 10-year anniversary, so it might be a good way to like make a digital Bitcoin cake. So what we're going to do is basically here. I will start with a new file. So we're gonna create the data first if we want. So we are selecting the file that we want to have. Here it's called BC logo. And we're going to use the under Firefly load bitmap, vision load bitmap tool, and now we have the vision, not to be confused with Satoshi's vision. But here we have the thing itself. Now we can basically decompose this image like this, and we have the red, green, blue channel, as well as the X and Y resolution. And next thing we're going to do is that we need to, because the image might be quite big, so we might do like make it a bit smaller, so we can use the resize bitmap tool, and we're going to use a multiplier here in this case, and of a certain amount, and that will redo the X and Y resolution of the image. I think in this case it's the same, but still, so we're creating an image, and we're gonna use the bitmap to modify this one. And so now we have our final image. We can basically reload in here as well, and now we have our new image with a lower resolution if you wanted to, exactly like this. So next thing I'm gonna do is we need to partition the list of the red, green, blue, and alpha channels, and we just gonna use partition and use it actually several times for the various channels, for the blue alpha channel as well. Can delete those here, and the list size would be in this case our X or Y resolution. I think in this case we can just use the X resolution and it should be fine. So let's just check if everything is correct here. No, it needs to be there. Perfect. Okay, now we have our chunks basically with each of the resolution. Next thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna use a grid under vector grid. We just use a square grid in this case, and the extents will be dependent on the X and Y resolution as well here. So now we have our grid if we wanna point those things on. And we're gonna create basically the color, and it's gonna give me like color RGB. Now we can use the alpha, red, green, blue channel, and to see if it works you can use a custom preview and put the cells and the shaders on here. So we see right now those things are exactly the way we want them to be. So next thing I'm gonna do is that we wanna extrude those certain numbers to the upwards, and as well as make like a little effect, for example, that we have like here. Maybe I should have showed you this image. So you want to maybe have like a small like tiling effect that they're going to drizzle a little bit around, as well as the white coming like to the top. The way you're going to do this here, because white has a very high amount of RGB, like so 255 in the RG and B channel, and we can use this to our advantage. And basically we're gonna so we are going to use like the brightest ones. So we're going to use the addition tool, and we're going to just add one here as well, and we're going to add those here together. So now we have the result of those of the RGB channel, And that will be basically the extrusion that we're gonna use, but we actually might need to multiply it as well a little bit, so it will be a little bit smaller, otherwise it will just extrude into the sky like immensely. Gonna just a bit smaller here, and we're gonna use under surface primitive box rectangle. The rectangle will be our cell, the height will be that here. As you see, already gives us our very nice Bitcoin thing. The next thing, like what you still see it's missing, that the ripple is basically all flat right now. So let me just change the resolution here a little bit, a little bit smaller. Yeah. So it's nice and good, but it's like a little bit too big at the moment. And we also want this little like ripple going through it. Again, the ripple is not the best thing, but okay. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to oh yeah, and also to assign the color, to just use here the geometry and you can just assign it to that here. But anyway, the thing we're gonna do is basically we're gonna make a series of lists, and that will have like a jitter, so they will be basically random. And the steps will be the X resolution again, and no, the count will be the X resolution. The step will be a defined value by us that mightn't be also be quite small, because there might be like a lot of values here. And we're gonna addition this value with the other values that we have here from the beginning. So we're gonna add those two together, and let's see if it works. Well, this looks quite fine at the moment, but the problem is still that it's only being like in those like lines, as you see. It's not in the two directions. A way to fix that is by using, we have to like flatten certain lists, because the list right now, the way the rectangle tools works is like that it takes each list from the bottom to the top. So we want to have them basically yeah, well, all over the place. So a way we can do is that there are certain ways. For example, we can flatten the list here, and as well as flatten the other one. But then I might need to change actually a value in order for it to look correctly. Yeah, that's not how I thought it should be. Flatten this as well. But the way it works is that we have this immense amount of values, and those values need to be put on this list here as well. So a way to do it actually could be that we just use the data of the other list, and we're going to use those as our step count with list length, and we can flatten this. So now we have a very long list basically. I'm gonna put this in here. I think this should turn out right. If not, I think there is also an alternative way to do it. Maybe with range it might be a better option. So just like, let's undo that, otherwise it will crash basically. And we're gonna add the values of this one. I need to flatten this as well. And put this here. So anyway, a way to fix this, the way, for example, to just flatten this one here at the moment, and now the results are all flattened. And with that, we can take simply the range that we want to create here, and we flatten that as well. So it's all basically now flattened out. but there might be still something that I'm missing here. Give me a second. Yeah, okay. So the list data itself basically consists of I need to use the length of the list itself as the steps that I'm gonna use here, and this can I can be using in the jitter for it to be more randomized, and in order for it to be more, yeah, exactly, now we're talking here. And now we have the result like here, but the problem now is that you might want to import this directly with the same colors like this into Rhino. So we're gonna use the human plugin, and gonna use 3 commands that we do in this. We use the bake geometry, the create attributes, and the create layers. It's very important now when we're gonna use the shaders that we're gonna use the flattened ones like here that we already have. And well, now we have to create the document, create material. So the diffused color will be the color that we have given, and we also give it a name as well, so it knows what it's talking about basically. And then the name should be the material of the object attributes, and we can maybe also choose the color as well, why not. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use the geometry that we have and put it into the geometry, and the attributes of those things are given as well. And we just need to now add a simple button in order for it to bake it properly. So if I now remove all the things here that I had there, and when I'm baking the geometry like this, one click, need to process a little bit. So now we have the geometry in real time in Rhino, as you see right now here, and we can very simply also render it just like this. We just click here. Da-da-da-da. So yeah, so there you have it. Hope you liked the video. But there was some good cutting, and yeah, so now you have your little birthday cake for our little Bitcoin. Hope it will evolve well, because I think it's quite a promising thing in itself as well. So yeah, hopefully it will work out, and see you next one. If you have any ideas what you want to do, please let me know. Bye bye.